Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. This is Maria Andreeva, the show must go meta, and today I'm here with Markose, crypto lead at xt.com and CryptoCosm, as well as a crypto evangelist. Welcome to our channel, Markose. Thank you very much for coming. We're very, very happy to meet you. Tell us about yourself, please. Tell us why crypto? How did you end up in this pretty messy world, I would say?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me here on your show, and glad we got to connect. My name is Markose Chenthitta, and I'm the podcast and communication lead for xt.com. And the podcast is called XTcast. It's the official podcast for xt.com. And I also have my own personal podcast called the CryptoCosm. So the goal with the podcast is to go through a journey and to understand how cryptocurrencies and blockchain-based solutions are going to revolutionize the internet, information, and money. And all those three really play an important role in each of our lives. So that's what kind of got me into crypto. And I guess how I got into crypto is a kind of like a long story. So I'm not sure if you guys are ready for that, but I could kind of give a little gist if that is all right with you, or
Sure.
yeah, what's interesting is how I learned about Bitcoin was actually through politics in the United States. Now, just to give you a context, I was, I'm Indian, but I was born and brought up in Dubai. So right after high school, I moved from one desert in Dubai to another desert in West Texas. Somehow I met some friends, trying to learn about economics. I was into sports, I was trying a lot of things, and I got in touch with some folks who are, you know, uh, who were involved in, political campaigns for some of the people who I know in the space. Some people might know as John McAfee, Dr. Ron Paul, but I heard about Bitcoin. It's really interesting, but I was more like a metals guy. I was like the gold and silver kind of guy. Very typically Indian of me. So, but a couple of years later, I would say I kind of started to see the light, and I saw like how Bitcoin is sort of revolutionizing finance as I was changing the world, disrupting a lot of things, and cryptocurrencies and blockchain in general is really changing the way we're doing things. And I kind of went in like around late 2016, early 2017. I'm not like a big whale and anything like that. I started from the bottom and I just kind of like dollar cost my way into Bitcoin and other cryptos. So I was in the financial space. I worked with American Express in the consumer business side, and then later I joined with Bitcoin.com exchange, which later rebranded to FMFW.io. What does FMFW.io stands for? It stands for Free the Money, Free the World. And yeah, I was the business development and partnership lead. And then I joined with the XT.com as part of the podcast initiative, and here I am talking to you.
Great, but if I'm not mistaken, I saw like I didn't stalk you, come on, but okay, I read your post and you have like a mission to deliver knowledge about crypto. Do you do it only with your podcast or you do something else apart?
Yeah, I do with my podcast, but outside of the podcast, I'm also I would consider myself as sort of a community builder. So I started I co-host with other folks in the space who are well versed in crypto and blockchain, and the community is called Coffee Crypto. It's a very simple name, but the reason we stuck with that is because to build like kind of like a human connection and trying to like help people and help startups and support and celebrate entrepreneurs and builders, founders, creators in the crypto and blockchain space. So it's really a place where people get to celebrate, because it is not easy getting into the crypto space. There's a lot of complexity, and also we are way too early in this space. So it does take a lot of energy and a lot of effort to evangelize outside and try to like uh, deliver the benefits and share the message out there. So it is so that's one thing that's one side of education and outreach from my side.
Okay, that's great. Actually, we had several guests from academia, but also like, let's say, professionals in crypto, so the business side of crypto. And I really feel myself like I'm a fortune teller actually, because I always ask questions about the future. And as you said, we're too early in the Web3, in the metaverse, crypto,
Yeah.
blockchain, and other synonyms or, yeah, similar words. My
Yeah.
first very general question would be, what is your opinion about fashion and Web3? Is it a revolutionary thing or is it just a fad?
I would say it is revolutionary in a sense, because it has it is sort of a remix in a sense, like how we share values, how we spread culture in some sense. So fashion is one way to like disseminate information, disseminate ideas to people, and definitely with the Web3 space, I think fashion is a great way to celebrate that creativity in the new age. And uh, I think it's also has been embraced quite a lot when it comes to fashion or art, particularly, but definitely now fashion brands too. They also are forward thinking when it comes to NFTs and the metaverse too. So, you know, I guess obviously you're familiar with the fashion scene. You have your runways, but you also have the virtual runways. You have um, also VR or augmented reality options where people can check out different fashion items. I mean, already like when you're talking about from a Web2 space, like your Google, Amazon, just using your
Yeah.
phone. I can't remember the company's name, but I can take a phone like with a camera and just scan myself. I can already people can like try out
Exactly.
different glasses, they can try out different shirts or colors, but here with the Web3 space, we're going to take it to a whole nother level. We're going to fully immerse your imagery into a virtual space, and you can try out all kinds of ideas. You can test out some fun stuff, some new ideas, maybe some crazy ideas too. So fashion will play a very important role in the long run. But I'm more excited about the art space actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, are we speaking NFTs or something different? What do you mean by art space?
I would say actually both because both NFTs and the metaverse. The reason I state that is
Mm.
maybe like 2 weeks ago, I got in touch. I had a guest from Finland. His name is Vesa Kniven.
Okay.
I apologize, I butchered his last name. But one thing for sure is I do admire his. Uh, I guess his taste in style, fashion, and the kinds of colors he used, and just the sophistication behind it. And he does digital art. He creates traditional art, then he applies digital, mechanisms, whatever you want to call it. And what he did was he put his art on two cars, like two Teslas. One is a Tesla Roadster, another one is a Tesla,
Okay.
I guess, Model S or something.
Okay.
So I thought what is really interesting is that, as you know, like as a regular person who's watching the show, I'm sure you guys are well versed that once you buy a car and you drive outside the dealership, 30% of the value goes down. Now,
Yeah,
what if you
exactly.
throw in an art piece, an actual art piece, like the NFT, like on the car? That whole dynamic changes. And on top of that, too, you can go really crazy. Like you can create a virtual reality of that particular car, put that in a metaverse, and in the metaverse, you can race that virtual car and win money. So there is fashion expression, there's creative extension, and then you can also have economic activity. So I mean, this is kind of like game changer in many ways, but not many people will get it. But sooner or later, people will catch up to it. Just like the fashion trends, very few will embrace the new fashion trend, but in a couple of years, a lot of people will follow that fashion trend. So that's something I'm excited about.
Exactly, exactly. You know what? Speaking about cars, actually, I've never been to this event, but I think it was the first one actually in New York. There was an Formula E. It's like a Formula E. They're electric cars competing for the prize. And the thing is, it's not an example of actually crypto revolution or whatever in our reality, but my friends were there and they told me that there was some interaction based on Web3. And
Yeah,
actually, when a car passes a mark on a ground, it accelerates, like in Mario Kart,
yeah,
or
yeah,
in all of
right.
these games we played when we were kids. And it's a stupid maybe example, but it's a funny thing that we never thought would be possible, but now it's possible. And of course, it doesn't add some value, some crazy value, but I think it's just the beginning. Like, okay, your example was better actually. I'm
No,
sorry,
no,
but I just wanted to share it.
yeah, yeah. No, but I would have to agree with you, like, because it is still early stage. People are trying ideas, and I think in some ways too. Uh, I don't remember this lady. Like, I mean, she's kind of like a fashion icon. I think she's a designer, but I think when it comes to fashion, the what I like about that space is you have to be really super entrepreneurial, and you are trying out you're trying out some new ideas. Either you succeed with that idea or you might fail also, because again, it's a subjective taste, subjective emotional resonance. So either some people get it or they don't, so but yeah, but
Exactly.
at least I think that's what I like about the fashion spaces. You guys get to try some new stuff, even also like with NFTs, like say like a particular, say like for example, like the Oscars or the Golden Globes awards, like all the actresses and actors, they come up with different dresses and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
now they're coming up with all these different NFTs for that, to have some sort of ownership, like, so it is kind of weird maybe for some people, uh, but I think it's just the beginning of new things to come, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we were speaking before about, I'm coming back to fashion. When we were speaking about fashion, and I heard, maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I wanted to tell it myself, whatever, that this revolution, Web3, gives us new opportunities in terms of like we can wear some particular items, they can be bizarre. And yeah, the things that seem bizarre in real life, they do not seem bizarre in Meta, because I think it's a total, let's say, transparent space where we can share our ideas and not be afraid to implement them because there are no limits. So, do you think that this attitude of no limits, creating something new, may affect the real, like existing now industries, let's say traditional fashion and traditional art?
Yeah, I think in terms of expression, you see, fashion is related to our identity, like the clothes we wear. Like, for example, I tend to be very minimalistic, at leisure kind of individual. That's kind of like who I am. But for some other people, I mean, I have some friends who are like, they have really expensive tastes. So like they're like, but they're like, Tom Ford, kind of clothing, so that's who they are, But for some people, they're able to, how do you say, showcase their identity like in the real world. But when it comes to the metaverse, I think the cultural dynamics is extremely different. I mean, because already you could create your own avatars, your own meta human, so to speak, like using the Unreal Engine, which is this very popular, high tech, digital creating tool, I would say, where you could be a totally different identity. Like, okay, in reality, okay, I'm this brown guy in Dubai, but in some metaverse, I'm a sassy black woman, So you could really you could really like portray yourself in a totally different light and a totally different personality. So, like you can kind of create your own unique identity. And I think that is going to play a pretty interesting role in the culture space, because I think in the end, culture, leading the culture will be followed by what's happening in the political or the economic space, so I think that is going to play. I personally, for me, that's what I believe that's is going to take place, really.
Okay, but you personally, are you a fan of particular art pieces in Web3, some NFTs, or you just watch? I mean,
Uh,
watching the revolution to come and just
I mean,
digest.
I've been kind of watching it, but I mean, there have been some interesting NFT projects, like for example, uh, the Yeti Secret Society, which is basically
Okay,
these
that's cool.
Yeti what do you say, collections, I guess. But there are
Yeah.
also I mean, there are some other interesting projects like called Genopets. Now, which is kind of interesting because if I don't know if your audience is aware of uh, this thing called Tamaguchi. It's like this virtual pet thing you hold, right?
Yeah,
So
I
Geno
know.
Okay, all right, okay. I
Mm.
know. I know. I kind of hesitated saying that because I sound old. So, damn. But
No, not
anyways,
true.
but the point is like with this Geno Pets as an NFT, if you play the more times you play with that game, the it'll start to level up, it'll start to grow and all that stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I think that's kind of a pretty cool utility case. You could kind of like, I don't know, like it's like having a sort of like a virtual pet in some sense, right? But way
Yeah.
advanced, way more fun, I would say. So I think that'll relate. So that's something I've been kind of following up. But other than that, in terms of fashion and stuff, I haven't really followed that much. But I would love to see something like that happen here in Dubai, because over here it's more like a art stuff. But I think fashion will be something
Okay.
really cool and exciting to see. Like maybe having a kind of like a bomber jacket with some sort of symbols or whatever. But if you take a phone and you scan the code or something like that, it'll take you somewhere else, something like that. So
Oh,
I know
okay.
it'll be kind of fun to see. So I know that's, but I'm just, hey, a guy can only dream, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it may exist already because, Coachella, for example, this year they had a very huge coverage of this type of integrations. They had like probably a lot of spaces that were tagged. I don't know how you call it technically because I'm not that technical on this topic, but there were special tags. You were putting a camera in it, and I don't know, you saw a field and bubbles flying around, and you were like a fairy tale. So I think it's pretty feasible.
Yeah.
And I think it's soon to come. I should update myself and make some research. There are probably some fashion brands who are already doing it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised because I'm sure there are some people out there who are working on some sort of interactive tool with some of the fashion cases for applying using fashion in the NFT space, or I guess because you can create a kind of like a NFT just for the sole purpose of ownership, showcase, hey, this very rare clothing design or whatever is owned by me, that kind of thing. And maybe the fashion designer can create an NFT and, like sell that piece to someone else, but they can get some sort of royalty or something. I'm not sure how that works in the fashion design space, but I'm sure it's possible, So I know the art world, we can do that, but I think fashion would be interesting to see. So I don't know. It'll be fun to try something out like that.
Mhm. Okay, I see. And I don't know if you've already heard, if we come back to the art part more than fashion, there are new concept of art galleries and art agencies in Web3. I had a chance to speak with Amal Alem. I don't know if you know her. She's the founder of Fumijin and Fumilabs. And basically, what we were used to before, like they're, art agents or art galleries, they collect art, they sell it, and
Yeah.
this business model, it's pretty traditional. But nowadays, there are business models arising in Web3, selling NFTs and art pieces in Web3. Um, do you think it makes sense, like to represent? Because I mean, the NFT as a concept, it is let's say token, yeah, gives us an ability to hold this, let's say, copyright, to hold the unique piece and be the owner of this piece, or the author, whatever. Do you think it makes sense to create something like art gallery or art agency models in Web3? Sorry, it may be a
Yeah, I
complicated
think you
question.
can. No, I think I guess you can in the Web3 space. If you're trying to create some sort of art gallery like in the metaverse, you can definitely have a lot of people in the metaverse instead of, like instead of like a traditional space where you can have only maximum, they say like 200 people or 300 people, so I think in that way it is possible. It would make it would make economic sense in some aspect, to have,
Okay.
hey, if you want to check out this particular art piece, it's only in this metaverse. So to enter the space, you got to pay some tokens or whatever. And if you want to buy that art piece or whatever, if it's in a form of an NFT, you can buy it, and it's, I mean, the ownership is recorded on the blockchain, but it's also like a smart contract. So uh, the 10% of the what do you say, the earnings or whatever will go to or the spend would go to the artist who created the artwork. So they have this sort of a residual income, if that's possible. So I think, yeah, I think that kind of economic activity would come on the rise. So it would sort of like make sense to have some sort of like an art gallery, but a very different model, I guess, so to speak, is more virtual. So yeah, I think it would make sense. I could see that because we are already seeing that here in Dubai too. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But
so
how's it in Dubai? Like, do you feel are there a lot of people who are interested in crypto? Is it booming?
yeah, I guess I think boom quite a bit, especially when it comes to NFTs actually. So
Okay.
that has been pretty popular, which caught me by surprise actually. So because honestly, I never imagined Dubai to be sort of this crypto slash blockchain capital. So there's a lot of folks are coming up with their own NFT collections. Even the Dubai police, all right, our police force here in Dubai, they
Really?
have their own NFT collection. Uh, I was a little surprised about that. I mean, you know what? It would have been really cool if those NFTs has a utility. Like say, for example, if you own a Dubai Police NFT, and Maria, if you committed some sort of a crime, like say public disturbance or whatever, you could use that NFT to get out of jail or something. But unfortunately, you don't have that. So I mean, it's just a novel piece. So it would have been cool, Maria. It would have been great. All right, in case you get in trouble, girl. All right, like.
Nice concept. I think maybe you should, I don't know, I'm sure you know a lot of people in this sphere. Maybe you should come up with this business plan and it could like simplify lives of many, many people. But I don't know. Sounds interesting, actually. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So that was quite unique. But I mean, sorry, just to go back to maybe connect something with, because I already mentioned about the art car thing with Vesa, but I think in terms of fashion, um, because I know there are some folks that trying to come up with like, like say for example some random NFT, and this NFT is connected to a physical object, like say your Ray-Bans aviator glasses from Top Gun or something like that. So I'm sure there are some folks who have already played with that idea. So it's not like a totally new concept, but I'm sure it's just a matter of adoption, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So here Fashion Hub is coming to Dubai to implement some new projects if we have some ideas. These startups, always looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I actually, I feel I destroyed you with this question about our galleries, and I'm really sorry to make you think a lot because I wanted it to be a very easy talk. So I give you a chance to ask me any question you want also about this topic or any other topic you like.
No, sure. Yeah, because I would be curious about, say, because I'm not aware about, like fashion brands, I guess per se, like getting into crypto or I guess they're accepting payments in crypto. I'm not sure, but uh, maybe do you know some fashion brands or fashion labels who are getting into, the blockchain space?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you teach me or enlighten me on that? I think
Yeah.
that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, sure, do know, but my answers they will be not surprising because the first names of the brands that come to my mind, they are like huge brands like Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, which is wow, it's not a surprise, they are
Yeah,
everywhere, also in
yeah,
the meta. But well, I'm very in this Web3 crypto ocean, also diving without any help, and
yeah,
trying to to understand what actually is going on. So I've been speaking to several guys who have startups connected with fashion, but they are not particular brands
yeah,
who are doing collections. They are sorry platforms for selling these collections because there are a lot of like the transformation to Web3 gives opportunity to many arising names
hmm
create something online with lower costs, etc. I know a couple of them, like 010, a platform. I actually use it. I love it. It's amazing. I can take photos and videos in 3D clothes, and I find it super fascinating because I can just change in a sec, and I can wear bizarre clothes, and
No,
leave
yeah,
it for
no,
a
that's really
purpose.
cool. No, that's really cool. No, actually, I'm happy to hear you mention about like startups, being more active in the Web3 space. I mean, you're right, like the typical name, Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga. I don't know about Jacques Cartier or, they're
Mm,
getting into the space.
can
That
be.
I'm not sure, but I could see them get into it. But I think that like the new startups getting into the fashion tech space. I think I think that kind of brings like joy to me because I want the small guys to win. I want the small guys to like have
Exactly.
access to all these Web3 platforms where they don't have to go to all these intermediaries and like it's
Yeah.
sort of because automatically because in the Web3 space, the most important thing is about having a community. And if you have the community behind you, and if you do it right, the community rewards you with business because that is what I see as a successful Web3. And you can distribute your products at a much lower rate. You could maximize or sustain your community much more longer than the typical businesses because it does take a lot of energy to maintain these communities or your client list and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And you know it'll be kind of cool to see maybe some of the fashion, like the shoe manufacturers in Italy, because there's a one or two couple of brands I know they use Italian shoemakers to, like sort of custom design your own shoes and stuff, but in a much more
Oh.
affordable way. I mean, compared to getting it from the big brands, like say for example, like a pair of leather sneakers is maybe like $800,
Yeah.
but if you get it directly from an Italian shoemaker, it's like just
Exactly.
less than $200. But what
Yeah.
if there's a way to add the Web3 element in terms of uh, paying them directly with crypto? whether it's a stable coin or maybe some other privacy coins, or maybe also come up with a NFT to create a kind of like a proof of ownership, proof of authenticity using an NFT, because the NFT is not necessarily all about art and stuff. NFT can be as boring as real estate documents or auto
Exactly.
loans or something. It just shows that it's a very unique item and it is owned by so and so, So that
Exactly.
I think that possible. I think I can see something like that could happen. So, but I hope that some folks out there could take advantage of it, and there are people in the crypto space who would want to support, like small fashion brands out there, So, uh,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I get what you mean exactly. And as I live in Italy, and I see this tendency of people being a bit more conventional. We cannot speak now about some Web3 revolution in Italy, but there are so many enthusiasts, actually, so many young guys I know, that are eager to bring this revolution to Italy. And yeah, I think we should wait for it a bit more, but because everybody is looking at America, Dubai, China, who
yeah.
are really who are locomotives of this crypto change, Web3, whatever. I like saying these words over and over again. I just get really pleasure from saying it, and we're still just in the beginning, but the amount of interest and the effort some guys put in developing their projects is amazing. So I think there is something to be done to come soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I hope our listeners also, if they are watching, see if there's some guy who is developing a startup in blockchain, come on, do it. Yeah,
No,
make Italy great again.
hey, exactly. I'll tell you this because, like, I mean, just for your audience, but also for yourself too. Like a lot of people, they look at Miami as the crypto capital, or sometimes they say, hey, Dubai is going to be the blockchain capital. Sometimes I have used that quite a lot in my podcast and stuff, but I state that from a very Web2 kind of perspective, because a lot of people are familiar with Google, Amazon, Meta, but when it comes to the Web3 space, there is no such thing as a capital. You yourself
Yeah,
are the capital. You yourself are the hero or the heroine of your story. So the idea is to be decentralized, like everywhere. We are everywhere, but we also connected too. We also have your own identity. So this is where fashion comes in, you know what I mean? Like to personalize yourself, to show your unique individuality instead of being this boring collective kind of deal. So there's something I want to share, like, mention to your audience, and especially many of them who are in the Italian fashion space and who are trying to come up with all this stuff. Um, Please be aware that this space can offer a lot of value. It is maybe a little bit confusing at the start, but hang on with us for a little bit. I think you'll find something really creative way to express your creativity, but also make more, increase your wealth and your human capital. You can do great stuff and be wealthy as well too. So it doesn't have to be a zero sum game. And I think the only challenge I feel for Italy or the Italians is that they just have to overcome some of the cultural narratives and the limitations. I think it's sort of similar to what I'm seeing like in India or some of my friends like in South Africa and maybe in Latin America. But I do hope that with Italy, there could be maybe some sort of a blockchain renaissance again. I mean, if you remember, the Renaissance it was started in Italy, right? You've got the
exactly.
Medici's and all that. So I hope to see that happen. I think that'll be so freaking amazing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. A very good parallel. And yeah, thank you very much for this advice and this actually moving speech, because I was about to ask you, what is your advice? But I already got my answer. And yeah, it's the only thing I would add is that actually I'm very thankful to you and for your time, because and I'm thankful to the blockchain, Web3, crypto, whatever it is. Uh,
Yeah.
for meeting people like you, because I feel also we now with this, the more we speak about it, of course, we're gonna get tired of speaking about the same thing over and over. I hope it's not gonna be soon. The more we speak about this revolution, Web3 revolution, the more open-minded and open to communication people I meet, and it's very beautiful to see. I think Web3 and this decentralized idea, it is really decentralized because it lets us, abandon all of these also small groups of people who we need to know to get something, to achieve something. We are breaking the system by decentralizing ourselves, and we are able to meet great people like you, like all our previous guests, and I'm super, super happy about it. Yeah, it was my sentimental moment, let's say.
No, that's a beautiful sentiment, and I think this. I would say, like, when it comes to getting that messaging out there, we just have to be consistent. I know, like, maybe for others, I think maybe being in the fashion space, or in the creativity space, doing the same thing same thing again and again can be kind of boring and annoying. Because I understand, because like some people I know, they're very creative, but they need to try something else, try something new. But overall, I think it's just trying to be consistent and keeping the message alive, but also trying to show your proof of work out there. Hey, look, we're doing something. We're trying to build something. If you fail, it doesn't matter. You can always fail your way to success and build it up. So I think that's that's a paradigm shift many of us needs to embrace, because I know in school, right, like, or public schooling, like, you're taught not to make any mistake, just follow the rules and all that stuff. But the world is changing, and fashion changes all the time, right? So, like, we have to be open to the idea, or embrace the idea of disruption. So
Exactly.
yeah, but not for the sake of it, but to really solve a problem and make our life better too, right?
Mm,
So yeah.
yeah, not to just to destroy, not build again. Yeah,
Yeah. I
this
mean,
can also happen.
I know that, but that'll be kind of like dystopian. So I mean, that's not the world I want to be in. Uh, but I think with the right mindset and connecting with the right people, and the building the right community, I think you could do. I mean, you can do it by yourself. You can move really fast, but to really grow, I think one thing I learned, like, being in the space, is you got to have the right people to help you bring that vision out. So, same thing in the fashion space, right? It's not just one designer. You got a team of
Exactly.
people, working on the concept, working on the drawing, critiquing, articulating it, and manufacture it and put it on the runway. Like, so, yeah.
Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. Okay, Marco. So I have another a small appeal to you.
Okay.
It's a new thing we're introducing, and it may be pretty tricky because you're the first one to do it, so you have no reference. We are asking our guests to ask our next guest, which is not yet confirmed,
Okay.
not confirmed, but not yet announced, any question about the topic of our talk. And then in the next video, our guest will answer your question. So
Okay. All
anything
right.
you want to know.
Oh, and then I want to ask for the next guest. All right.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Um, I guess my question for the next guest is, um, would we see fashion designers or fashion houses start accepting crypto directly? So
Okay.
yeah. For the for their whatever, it could be a dress, shoes, or whatever. But, like, would they accept crypto
Mhm.
payments when they plan to accept cryptos? I guess in the future. Yeah, that would be my question.
Okay, amazing. Oh, amazing. I think you actually got a very nice question. I'm not going to say who is our guest will be for now, but
Okay.
I think he or she will be able to answer this question. And I want to thank you again for your time and for your valuable advice and for your valuable opinion about the Web3 fashion and art. And yeah, till next time. And please feel free to write your questions. This is an appeal to our audience. Please feel free to write your questions down in the video so Markose could look them through and maybe answer one of yours.
Sure. Sounds fantastic.